Now, I'm not sure if I'm out of line when I say this, but the iPhone 17 Pro Max is on track to being one of my most favorite iPhones of all time. Yo, what's good with y'all, fam, man? Coming back again, your boy Technically T, and we hitting you with the 1 week later. I don't even want to call it a 1 week later, man. It's so cliche, but we've had it a little bit over 1 week. But I just want to tell y'all, man, how I'm feeling about it. This is basically, yeah, it is that 1 week later on how I'm feeling about the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, just like I stated in that intro, I hope I'm not a shield. I hope I'm not an Apple fanboy for saying this, man, but I'm telling you, the 17 Pro Max is being on track to being one of my favorite iPhones of all time. And it's hard to get on that list. All right, we talking about iPhone 5S, iPhone 8 Plus, iPhone 13 Pro Max, and I guess you can sprinkle in the iPhone 10 because it was a new design. But so far, I'm absolutely loving this device, and I really don't have many negatives. I know y'all about to be like, T, you are herding the sheep right now. You know what I mean? But let's just go ahead and talk about it. The first thing that we got to talk about, you already know, has to be that design. Now, when they switched over to aluminum, when I found out they were going to aluminum, but forget that. When iPhone switched to titanium, I was hyped. I was like, woo, titanium. You know, I don't even know all the scientific aspects of titanium, but titanium sounds fancy. And I know where it is on the periodic table. But when we got it, I was just like, you know what? This thing feels premium in hand. It feels so good. Now, even when we had the stainless steel, I don't know if I was super crazy about the stainless steel. I'm not a big fan of the super shiny things. But this 16 Pro Max, which this one right here, this is my girl's old Desert Titanium 16 Pro Max. This thing felt quality. When you felt a 16 Pro Max in your hand, you knew what you was getting. You felt the titanium goodness, something like off of Iron Man when it came to the 16 Pro Max. And then when I saw the 17 Pro Max, I said, you know what? I'm not sure how that looks. It looks a little cheap. It feels a little bit cheap, but I'm gonna tell you, man, when I got this thing unboxed, I wasn't sure about the actual design. It was just for me, I'm like, it has to grow on me a little bit, all right? But when I got it in hand, started using it, started throwing cases on and off, doing different things like that, I started to really appreciate the switch over to aluminum. Now, I get it. I know all of the reasons as to why they left titanium for aluminum with the vapor cooler chamber and all the cooling, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. But I really, really started to grow fond of the look of the 17 Pro Max. And y'all let me know if I'm bugging out, man. This thing is starting to look, you know, you ever seen that ugly girl in school and you was like, you know what? The more I look at her, the more she not looking that bad. And I think that's the way I feel when it comes to the 17 Pro Max. We already know when it comes to the aluminum, what you're gonna get, all right? You see everybody online complaining about aluminum and it being dented and chipped and scraped and all these different things. Look, just slap a case on your phone. All of a sudden now we don't use cases on our phone when it comes to iPhones, all right? Slap a case on your phone, use it like a regular human being, and you will be just fine when you wanna protect it from nicks and dings and different things like that. But right now, man, the feel of this thing just feels so good in my hand. It's just, I don't know, man. This thing just does something to me when I'm holding it. That sounds a little crazy, all right? I'm not getting that excited over an iPhone, but it just feels good when you're holding it in your hand. Now, just like I stated a little earlier, you've seen the reports of these things getting scraped, scratched, and all of the above, but shout out to Benks for sponsoring this video. And this is a case that I have repeatedly come back to, and this is going to be the Benks ArmorAir, especially the Armor Grid for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, when we're talking about Benks ArmorAir line, we are talking about a very slim, lightweight. Listen, I love the way this 17 Pro Max feels in my hand when it's naked, but guess what? I don't want to run my device naked. I'm gonna need a little protection, and I've been leaning towards lighter protection. You guys have heard me say that in previous videos, and I feel like the ArmorAir series does just that. Of course, it's gonna be wrapped in that durable Kevlar fiber. I just love the way that feels in your hand, especially when it comes to the grip. MagSafe compatible. All right, listen, we're not going to talk about cases if they not MagSafe compatible. So you're going to have those MagSafes on deck. When you're talking about aluminum camera ring going over the camera plateau, this gives it a nice look, and Benks has stated that this does not affect camera signal. I've been running this case a lot, and I have not been able to tell any difference when we're talking about camera signal. And it does have a nice UV layer on the back of it, so it will keep that finish nice, grippy, and really give you that nice texture when you're holding this device. Listen, man, I love the feel of this 17 Pro Max, just like I stated, but I can't run it naked because I'm a little afraid. So the Benks ArmorAir line is going to give you the perfect solution and able to still feel the curves of that 17 Pro Max without being too bulky on your phone. They have a few different options when it comes to the ArmorAir and the Armor Grid series, so check them out down below. Discount code down below so you can take a little bit off of this already excellent price case. Once again, shout out to Benks for sponsoring this video. Now, the next thing we got to talk about is basically what the general population loves most when it comes to these iPhones, and we got to talk about cameras. Now, the cameras are just superb. Once again, when it comes to an iPhone, I feel like they always have some of the best. I'm not going to say always have some of the best, but I do feel like they have the best video camera. We'll talk about that. But the pictures that's now coming out of this 17 Pro Max, I am so impressed with all three of these lenses being telephoto. Now, me, myself, I mainly use the main shooter and the telephoto lens. I'm not really a big wide angle person unless I'm going on vacation, but it's just good to know that no matter what camera lens that you shoot on, you will get a phenomenal photo. And just throwing up a few samples that I have snapped. Haven't really went out and snapped too much. This has been casual outing, son's birthday party, me messing around with the cameras. The look looks phenomenal. Now, when you flip it over to the front facing camera, I think that's where all of the magic is going to happen. When it comes to that front facing camera, since they gave us now to when you want to take a selfie, it lets you basically pop it out and give you that wide angle without having to fumble around and hold your phone sideways, and you risk dropping and damaging your phone, and then you're gonna be going to Apple to do an Apple Care claim. No, now you can just pop it open, hit that selfie button, and then when somebody jumps in frames, it'll either go wide or you can press it to make it go wide also. And that function is just so good if you are a selfie person. Look, your boy is not a biggest selfie person, but if you are, and it's definitely if you have a group of friends, I know once we start going on vacation, this is going to be a very, very good thing to have once we start taking those selfie pictures, letting us know what country we in next. So love the cameras it has going on. Of course, the video cameras is going to be absolutely amazing. Haven't really taken much video on it. That's probably something that's going to come a little bit later when I talk about the phone a little bit more long term, where I can take a few more videos. We've just been extremely busy, and I haven't really had a chance to take a lot of videos, a lot of pictures, and different things like that when it comes to the 17 Pro Max. Now, performance. iOS 26. Now, if you were like me, when I had the 16 Pro Max, I ran the beta for a good while before the actual, the standard release hit the phones, but iOS 26 was okay when it came to the iPhone 16. iPhone 26 on the 17 series, I feel like has been so good. It has been very stable, and I'm just not listening to all the hoopla that you see online of people saying that this thing is bad. Listen, this has been absolutely perfect for me. I don't have many bugs at all. Everything looks good. The liquid glass, I mean, everything has been fine for me. It has been running very fluid. Of course, the A19 Pro chip. On this channel, we don't do the benchmarks and we don't do all of those things, but it has been snappy. It's been fast. I'm coming from a 16 Pro Max, so you really can't tell the big difference when we are talking about speed, but it has been amazing. 12 gigs of RAM. Also, once again, man, the iPhone is really setting us up for, I feel like, something big because they just threw everything that they could performance-wise at this 17 Pro Max. Now, along with performance, we got to talk about the vapor cooling and the overheating thing. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. In normal use, normal life, regular staying local within the US, I have never experienced overheating on my iPhone 16 Pro Max or anything before that. Now, I will say with the 16 Pro Max, when we went on vacation, we went to Croatia and Malta a few months ago. I'm taking pictures if we had a wine tour, and I'm snapping pictures, snapping pictures, snapping pictures. It's hot as hell out there, all right? The phone did start lagging. It did start dimming the display. So when I was taking the pictures, I couldn't really see what was going on. Listen, and speaking of dimming the display, this thing with 3,000 nits is absolutely insane outside. I mean, you have no problems reading this device outside, walking around in the sunlight. But when we start talking about overheating, everyday use, I never really had a big problem with overheating when it came to the 16 Pro Max, except those anomalies when I'm taking pictures in 90-degree heat in all types of pictures. Of course, full sunlight, case on, you might get a little hot. But when it comes to this right here, so far, and once again, we're only a week in, we really can't throw all the dice at it when we're talking about a review. Only a week in, I've not experienced any slowdowns. The only time I can simulate something close to what we did when I was out of country is when I go for my walks every day at work. I go for multiple walks a day. Most of the time it's in the morning when it's cool, but then I do another one when it starts to get a little hot outside, the full sun is beaming, and this thing was taking it like a champ. Did it heat up? Sure, it's gonna still heat up. I feel like people don't understand the purpose of vapor cooling chamber. The vapor chamber just distributes the heat so it's not hot spot in one area and just beaming it. Your phone is still gonna warm up, but the way they distribute the heat is what causes the vapor. That's when it's doing its thing. And also, this thing cools off a lot faster than I would say the iPhone 16 Pro Max did. And that's because of that aluminum body and being able to dissipate that heat. So the vapor cooling performance, all has been amazing. And the thing that is just the cherry on top is battery life. Listen, The best battery life that I always felt was on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. This is hitting 13 Pro Max level for me and beyond. I mean, when we're talking about yesterday, if I hit let me go to my history yesterday, all right? So yesterday we were at, and don't mind the little charging because that's basically where we were plugging up in CarPlay. CarPlay didn't even really charge because we were going right up the street. But we're talking about 10 hours of screen on time. This thing, and I don't get wrapped up around screen on time. As long as I take this bad boy off the charger for me, which is about 5 a.m., and it can last me until I get home, that's perfectly fine because guess what? I'm home. I can throw my phone on a charger, but this thing is lasting. I mean, when it came to the 16 Pro Max, I'm gonna be real with you. And a lot of people on Twitter were saying no to you just saying that to justify the 17. I didn't get great battery life on the 16 Pro Max series. It was okay. It just wasn't great. This, I'm getting great battery life. I can go from 5 a.m. to just about all that day and even a little bit into the next day. And that's exactly what I did with my battery life yesterday. Like I had 10 hours of screen on time, didn't charge it. And even today, woke up, I had up 3 more hours of screen on time before I put it on the charger. The battery life on the 17 Pro Max has been absolutely phenomenal. And I know things change over time when we start using these devices, but I'm very confident, man, that this thing right here is going to do a great job when we are talking about battery life. So overall, listen, once again, I'm gonna go back to my original statement. This iPhone is on track to being one of my favorite of all time because number one, the design. Silver color has been absolutely beautiful in my opinion. It looks good. I know a lot of people say the cosmic orange, and that's cool. I get the cosmic orange is good, but the look of it, the cameras, when it comes to the back, the front-facing cameras, they are amazing. Battery life, different things, the battery life, the cooling, the performance, everything just seems very stable, very polished when it comes to the 17 Pro Max. And I felt like all these past years, 16, 15, 14, we were just missing that polish. We were missing that old thing that Apple used to have. And I feel like we've arrived when it came, when it comes, all right, comes to the 17 Pro Max. So that's going to be it, man. Of course, we still have plenty of coverage coming about this device, case reviews, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, we're going to talk about it. And we also going to talk about, let me get it off this charger over here. We're going to talk about the little brother, I guess you can call it, which is going to be the iPhone Air right here. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about a lot about that because I really have my thoughts about that. And I feel like it's such a misunderstood product. But for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, listen, man, the damn thing's a champ and I'm absolutely loving it. But check it out, man. Get subbed up. Just like I stated, tons of videos coming for the 16 Pro Max and even a few, well, 17 Pro Max, I'm sorry, and a few for the iPhone Air. Later.